Is it? Okay, yes. So this is where the water tastes like wine.
Night has fallen and you're weary from travel. Stars fill the sky above, and in front of you is a brightly lit wooden house, the only building you've seen for days. You walk toward the house, hearing the sounds of laughter and talk as you reach the door and push it open. You sit down and join the game. It's a cheap buy-in, and not many of the other players are very good. The lady fiddling with dice gets good cards, but has no real strategy. The man to your right seems to just hold on to the highest cards he has, regardless of suit or any consideration of matches. The man in gray across from you, though, he's good. He already had the largest pile of coins when you bought in, and while your winnings grow quickly, you can't quite catch him. One by one, the other players leave the table, sometimes with pique or with wry humor, leaving their winnings with you or the man in gray. Finally, it's just you and the man in gray.
Completely gray.
He looks at you, full of humor, and winks. Last hand? He deals, you draw, and look at your hand. It's good. It's great. The best hand, in fact. A royal straight flush. Spades. Aces high. But the man in gray pushes forward his whole pile. You're not sure exactly how much it is, but it's more than you've got. You can't match that. The man in gray stops you. Now, if you like, I'll let you wager your word. I know you'll be good for it. Just promise you'll pay the debt, however I ask. Yep.
Double check.
10, jack, queen, king, ace. All spades. The man in gray smiles. All right, then. I'll call.
Well, your luck wasn't so good, was it? That's quite the hand, but not for the game we're playing. I'm afraid you owe me. Your life, sure, but more than that. Your labor. You see, this land is built on stories. It's one big story, this country, woven of many small ones. Few of the small ones are strictly true, and the big story is mostly a lie. All the stories and songs and myths and legends start somewhere, with a seed. As they're told and retold and passed around, they grow and change to become the stories we know. To pay your debt to me, you'll be carrying stories, finding the seeds first and then spreading them, telling them onwards so they can begin gaining strength. This is no light task. stories are heavy. Most of the stories you'll find will be small seeds. They might be true, but they'll grow wild and unbelievable with the telling. The more important stories are the true ones, the ones people will tell you about their own lives. Those often get lost in the weaves of the big story. The more true stories you can find and tell, the more you can weave that truth into the big story. Tarnish it a bit perhaps, but isn't a dingy and battered truth better than a shining lie? Now, go ahead. You tell me a story. I'll trade you some information about your task.
So this is one of those art games. Yeah, feels appropriate.
I'll strip away your flesh to make the journey easier.
Cool,
But
thanks.
still you'll feel pain.
Aw.
Hunger, weariness, thirst, and despair. They're all part of stories, a part not often told. And death, yes, but don't worry. As long as your task remains, you come back.
Well. Let's get traveling.
Travel? That's your job. Wander from place to place, gather those stories and spread them. People get bored hearing the same stories over and over. But an old cliche in one state might be a rip-roaring new yarn in another.
Okay. Let's go here. Dice, look at you.
It's just luck. Funny how bad luck seems to follow the folks who already have problems aplenty. Well, try your luck out there in this country. See how the dice treat you. It's not all bad. You'll have to work hard, but I'll give you the gift for seeing the true shapes of people. Not many who can do that.
Oh, yeah, that old thing.
You'll sometimes have to make choices about what kind of story you're finding. Is it a love story or a tragedy? Don't gather too many of one kind, though. This grand story needs variety. Your deepest desires? Your greatest wish? Heaven? Big Rock Candy Mountain? El Dorado, the Promised Land, that place just over the ridge where they all say that the water tastes just like the sweetest wine. Well, I don't know where that is. It's supposed to be somewhere in this country. Ask the people you meet. They're all searching for the same thing. Go on your way, seeker. Maybe we'll meet again, or maybe not. Either way, it'll be an experience for you. I'm jealous in some ways. I hope you find what you're looking for.
So, the moral of the story is if you wander into a random bar and you play poker with some furries, you will become a giant hobo skeleton traveling across America. I think we can all relate to that.
This bungalow is being ransacked. There's furniture piled in the front yard, ammunition heaped under the mailbox, and a crowd of clean-cut men ripping apart a car in the driveway. The two heavily armed, mud-caked women leaning over the porch railing share the same bored grin. One shouts at you. "Lend a couple innocent gals a cigarette?" You're about to hand her a smoke when those men draw pistols and shove you hard into the dirt. "You know these girls?" they demand. Once they've dumped your bag out into the road, they decide you're harmless. "If you were selling booze too, you'd have a lot more cash," sneers one. On the porch behind him, the two bootleggers are fingering their empty rifles, grinning in disappointment.
Sometimes when you're a giant skeleton, you get mugged. Let's see. Up here we got Canada. We can go there. Nope. Canada's forbidden land. Okay. Where can I go then?
Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this
sure.
land. By and by, I'll see them far and long.
Okay. Wait, was that the whole thing? Okay, stuff that I know. Also, wait, this is controller support? Okay. Would not have expected that, but okay. Yeah, basically you just wander around America, shown here, and find and exaggerate interesting stories. Well, it's just some, like, bluegrassy music.
Off the road and into the woods, you can't help but come across this package by the old tree tied to a sturdy stick. The cloth wrapping conceals, though not particularly well, something large and softly unsettled. Little eyes blink back at you from inside the bundle. The shape gives a start.
"Please don't tell my pa that I'm in here.
It says in a small voice.
Pa doesn't want to live with us anymore. But I want to go with him. Don't tell him, please. I'm hiding."
You tell the boy you'll keep his secret. You don't see his father anywhere. You don't see another soul for miles.
So I appreciate that they don't, like, bring other voice actors for characters. It's just the narrator does a silly voice. The visual stuff was really interesting too. Okay, so there's Maine and New Hampshire and Portland. Yeah, that's geography.
They don't come every year, you know. The old man is sitting at the edge of a rotting old pier, crooked legs dangling over the water. He watches a pair of seagulls preen and groom each other on a rock just off the shore. Just when the fishing is gonna be good. He taps great, black, thick globs of spent tobacco out of a huge ceramic pipe. I got another year, I guess. Another year of this town being here, he replies, letting a grin spread across his face. If the seagulls came, that means enough fish to keep it in place.
Ooh, a lighthouse. Those are full of creeps.
horizon, and you don't relish the thought of being caught wandering this rocky seaside road in the rain. Fortunately, you find the lighthouse door open, with a daunting staircase before you. At the top of an ornate wrought iron spiral, you're breathless and feeling the strain on your knees. Rain already batters the walls outside. You can only knock on a heavy wooden door leading into the upper level. Muffled voices and light seep in beneath the door. Looks like we got a visitor. Sounds like a man's voice, deep and rough.
Well, behave yourself. I'll open the door.
Another man, this one with a higher, more sonorous voice. I always behave myself. He feigns indignation,
You just add
but
something to
his
it to me.
tone betrays affection instead. After a moment, the door unlatches from the inside and opens. The man before you is tall and muscular, with a hint of a paunch beneath his wide chest. The heavy iron knob on the door looks nearly dainty in his huge hand.
Didn't want to be out in this rain, did you? Come in.
Despite the rough exterior, this room looks like a well-appointed parlor. There's a rug on the well-trod wooden floor and an enormously plush couch. And sat upon it is a stocky fellow grinning through a great hazel-colored beard. Tea? He offers, hoisting a teapot.
So, mechanically, like, you kind of want a variety of tarot
A few
suits.
years.
The tall one sits on the sofa, wrapping his arm casually around the other lighthouse keeper. 5, says the smaller, but by no means
Very calm.
small, man.
That long? Time flies. We traveled together before that. You must have some good stories from the road, huh?
You wake up the next morning on their old sofa, still warm from an excess of tea. And cakes? There might have been little cakes. Prodigious snoring rumbles in from the floor above you, and you quietly take your leave.
There's something about, like, the gravelly cowboy voice just narrating this encounter with this nice gay couple. It's very amusing to me. Ooh. No? Anyone? Thank you, good sir. Or madam, or light term for non-binary people in that context that I should learn. Okay, good old Boston.
This city is like no other you've been to. Crooked streets splay out in a maze of narrow passages, no two alike. Soon, you find yourself in twilight, utterly lost. Bright light crests around one corner, a car approaching. Compelled by the cold and foreboding night, you don't question it as you drag your bones into the cab. But you realize immediately how strange the vehicle is. It's a sleek thing, like a shallow parabola gliding over the street. Where to? He asks. You have to stop and think. Eventually, you name Boston Common, the only landmark you know in this town. He peels off silently. You feel the car move before you hear the engine. He takes you through ever odder streets, flanked by painfully clean, gleaming buildings. and signage for businesses you don't recognize. Even the air seems different. It doesn't smell so sharply of gasoline and coal. Eventually, you come to a stop. The fare's in glowing numbers above his dashboard. It's much too high. Surely a mistake. No charge, he insists. You look like you need a break. And then you find yourself on the curb at Boston Common, under thick moonlight, in a city much as you'd left it before.
That's nice. Yeah, just ask. Oh. I want root beer and clam chowder. Maybe not at the same time. That sounds kind of disgusting, actually. I'm too hobo skeleton to take a train to New York. Okay. That's fair.
A dusty truck and a man on horseback pull up next to one another in front of the grocer. Suddenly, the driver and the rider, two wiry old men with identical haircuts, start shrieking at one another. The man with the truck leaps into the street.
Brother!
He shouts. The one on the horse tumbles out of his saddle.
Brother!
He screams. They embrace in the road.
30 years!
Hollers the driver. The rider, tears streaming down over his face, corrects him.
No! 32!
Everyone here is watching these two older men cry and hug one another in the middle of Main Street. Cars and wagons are backing up. People are yelling.
Take a photo of us!
The driver begs you. Starts hauling a tripod out of the bed of his truck. The long-lost brothers pose in front of traffic, cry snot pouring out of their noses. As angry passerby wave you out of the road, each brother presses a coin into your hand. When the traffic disperses, you realize they overpaid you quite a shocking amount.
Okay. Now I could get some cider and or I can just stomp my way to New Hampshire here. What other weird geography we have going on? Okay. I gotta terrorize my actual or we can hit into an island and like see if we can find H.P. Lovecraft's house and kick it over. That sounds like a thing to do. Okay. That's a mechanic.
His clothes are expensive, but unkempt. A tailored jacket stretched and warped out of its best fit by long days on the road. His thinning frame weighs down the boxcar next to yours. You got a light, friend? You offer a match. which bends and nearly snaps as he scratches it against the pitted iron edge of the boxcar. "Thanks," he mumbles, perching one
I
last
have to say, when this
cigarette.
narrator isn't doing the cowboy voice, he sounds kind of like George Carlin.
"Don't rightly know where I'm going." You notice how deeply wrinkled his clothes are. It's as though a huge hand plucked him from a high society party and crumpled him up like a sheet of paper. "Don't rightly know how I got going either. They built a railway just past Missy Hudson's estate. Damned racket ruined our soiree. Might have been a few bottles of Armagnac too many when I walked down the tracks to tell them to keep it quiet." He drags on the cigarette, but you never see him exhale.
Wow, there's nothing in Rhode Island, huh? There's some trees. Always talk to crows. It's just that's just good advice in life. Yeah, this is the other part of the game is that first you know, collect some stories, then you have to, like, retell them and kind of evolve them. Certain locations. If I recall.
You hear the whippoorwill first, shrill and close. Then you see him, high up above the black streaks of wires. A lineman, fraying belt holding him to the pole. A damned bird has come to perch on a power line, stare hungrily at the man's soul. He's unsteady. His hands are shaky, and his body sways in the wind. You spot his tool bag next to the pole, worn and frayed, much like the man. A half-gone bottle of cheap rye pokes out of it. What's he gonna do? Come down from the pole? You snatch it from his bag in one quick motion and walk away. "Hey!" he starts. But whatever he's about to say slips into a slurred whine as his belt snaps.
And do I walk away all cool with my pilfered wine, or
His body plummets, and his limbs go slack with
Watch
the
a guy
understanding of
die.
what is happening to him. He tumbles into the tall, dry grass by the side of the road with a muffled noise. All you hear is the call of the whippoorwill. Eager, loud, thankful.
The ones who bury me.
okay. Some pizza, some coffee. Maybe find an odd job. Okay, I got sleep and health and money. All the things. Let's go meet RoboCop.
The rain is coming down so hard. It's a wonder the sidewalk hasn't started to crack. You manage to find a narrow patch under a ledge where you can stay dry. A squat man, bundled up in a black fur coat and matching hat, approaches. The thick rain flattens and mats his fur. He squints up at you.
You're in my spot.
He crows. He thanks you as you step aside, back into the rain. You keep walking, hoping to find more shelter. Now that you see the man from a distance, you're not sure the fur is a coat. A pair of red eyes shine back at you. The rain stops a minute later. You look back up the road, but the squat man is gone.
It's rough out there for Ralph in Detroit. Our money's good. Yeah. I'm good, I think. Let's see. What do we got out here?
Stacks of suitcases grind the parked Model A deeper into the dirt. An extended family inside defies the carrying capacity of the vehicle. The driver leans out the window. Want this? He swings a violin around by its neck. 10 bits. We need it for gas. You hear a muffled pounding from somewhere within the car. 6 bits then. We need it for gas. The pounding becomes frantic. The violin is yours, and the car shudders down the road. It's not quite out of sight when the back door pops open and you hear a girl's voice scream at you. That violin belongs to Louise Ames, you dumb fuck. The door and the girl are wrestled back into place, and the car fades into the blur of the horizon. Its weight feels like a comfort as you walk. After all, who knows when you'll need Louise Ames' violin?
This will be my hair, my vagrant song.
I really like this
Just a
like
moment there.
weirdly zoomed out map.
He says, shaking your hand.
I'm Paul Dalhart from the Republican Herald. You may have heard of it. Syndicated in 6 counties. Well, no matter. But listen, you may have noticed a vocal few out there. I call them naysayers, who throw up their hands and fly the white flag as soon as life gets a little tough. But wouldn't you agree that it's never been a better time to live and do business in this country? Ha! Pessimism, negativity, faint-heartedness.
He claps his notebook shut.
If there is to be an end to the great American experiment, it'll be your attitude that writes it, not mine.
There's something wrong about this lonely farmhouse. The cows have unusual rain over the porch, and the open door shows a cow lying in the empty parlor. The flower
Yeah.
boxes are still well tended, though. There's outgoing mail in the box. The
Sometimes
moment
cows
you
like to
step
party.
inside the fence, an old woman screams.
Hey! Hey! This is private property!
You quickly realize that the sound is coming from under the porch. Indeed, you can see her hollering at you through the slats of the steps. You can see a parlor set up in the basin under the porch. A flowery armchair, a rug, and a little lacquered table.
This is an inhabited home.
The old lady barks.
The cows live upstairs and I live down here.
Above, a cow thumps its hoof. She twitches and startles.
Okay.
That's right.
She shouts.
I'm a grown woman. I can live any way I please.
She shuffles to her chest of drawers and digs out a packet of rock candy in wax paper, like a grandmother saves for her grandchildren. She hurls it in your face.
Thank you for visiting. Now get out.
So, like, I like this game, but I really don't know how I would describe it to someone if I wasn't just playing it at them.
Over a shared, crusty loaf of bread, the farmer notices you looking at a prominent, tattered scarecrow in the field.
Oh, you like old Barney?
He asks.
Does a damn good job scaring the vermin. Shame about the real fella. He was a funny one. Old Barney hiding out in our stables and lofts, just passing along. We liked him. Well, all except the sheriff. Barney never harmed nothing. I sometimes shared bread with him, just like you here. When he disappeared, leaving just the clothes we gave him, I figured I'd put him to use. Never got to know his proper name neither.
Across the field, the wind in the corn whispers. Or is it the scarecrow?
Okay, I think I'm temporarily out of Americana. So now I need to find some weird, magical spirit furries to exaggerate to. As you do in life. How about you, buddy? Okay.
The Twisters touch down in a cornfield, fence posts flying in its wake. The huge black stallion charges toward the tornado. On its back, the cowboy whips his lasso through the churning air, nearly matching the Twister's speed. His wild laughter carries on the wind.
God damn it, Bill!
Another man hollers, clapping his hands to his hat to keep it from flying off.
Quit being a damn fool!
The man on the horse turns toward him and flashes a beatific grin before digging his heels harder into the horse's flanks. His Stetson goes flying, caught by a gust. He doesn't seem to notice. He barks a single yee-haw as he stands in the stirrups, leaning into the whirlwind. In a moment, man and beast are enveloped in the storm. All you can hear is Bill's wild laughter.
Okay, this might be what I'm looking for.
Why, hello there. Look like that's a heavy bag you're carrying. Let me get that for you. I insist. You see this uniform? It means you can trust me to make sure this is the most comfortable journey you've ever had in your life.
Seems legit.
Who am I? Well, I'm no George, I tell you that. But that's not important. This trip is about you, friend. Tell me something that'll make me laugh. I could use a chuckle.
Okay, what do we got? Okay, what do we have for funny stories? Maybe. Yeah, that's probably the way to go.
I'll keep this story in my pocket for sure. It'll make some passenger laugh. Home is where we go back to. It's where we belong. But there's nothing wrong with spending a little time in the rest of the world every now and again. You got any stories with a bit of excitement to them?
Heck yes, I do.
Didn't I hear that story on the radio? You told it better, though. If you're looking for freedom, just think about how magnificent a train is. How the railroad binds this country together. Hop on and go anywhere.
Well, I haven't been to Florida yet.
That's freedom. And that's my life. You got any stories with a bit of excitement to them?
Let's see. Lame. Oh yeah, that counts.
Woo, that's a wild one, all right. Authority. Hopefully people who ride in a Pullman car feel a little of that. It's about more than a train ride. And not everyone knows what it's like to be the boss, to know what it feels like to be skillfully served. Pullman porters give you a taste, so boss George Pullman will know you'll be back for more. Have any optimistic tales? I'd like to hear one of those.
Okay, that's trickier. Yeah.
Just like I told you, friend, miles of smiles. The past, that's a tricky thing. Yes, porters may remind you of a certain type of way folks of our type used to be. There's no fight in that, just happily working past it. You got any stories with a bit of excitement to them?
There's that guy murdered.
Might not be telling that one to the boys.
That's
out
fair.
Yeah. I got a few miles on me. But I don't think I'll be hearing that Phantom train anytime soon.
I mean, if you do, just like X, Y, down, up, remember.
Doesn't mean I don't make sure to
Or
always listen,
use
just in
Horrible
case.
if there's more damage, or use a Phoenix down, you know.
Another night over. I surely did enjoy all those stories, though. Maybe next time I'll let down my hair a bit. What do you say? You must excuse me, friend. What kind of porter am I saying this trip is all about you, only to start talking about my own damn self? But enough of my indulgences. I hope I see you.
That's how that goes, and then later on, and I may or may not get to it, you start like getting retold versions of stories that you tell people that have like been distorted in various ways.
The plants grow and blossom as you watch. The man goes down the line, applying a few drops from the vial as he goes. As the liquid soaks in, each plant pushes up from the soil, unfolding and stretching for the sky. He turns to you.
It's quite something, isn't it? Soy here strangles the crops. People are starving. But even when the plants survive, they don't grow fast enough to fill people's bellies.
He smiles.
My miracle formula will change that.
He shakes his head.
I'm not giving up my secrets that easily. The state will pay a lot of money for this.
He shakes the vial. He tears off a leaf.
Here, try some.
It's just bitter at first. But as you swallow, the fibrous mass burns in your throat. You fight to hold it down.
I mean,
And your stomach knots tight when the plant matter hits it. You cough and hiccup. The man looks at you, curious.
I can't.
What do you think?
I can't not take a choice like this.
He waves a hand.
Well, yes, there are some kinks to work out, but people are starving. They can't be fussy. It won't be long before no one around here goes hungry again.
Your stomach protests. You feel like you'll be hungry again very soon indeed.
What's this? Oh, here we go. Okay. So yeah, this happens, and then you get, I think eventually some like actual folk tales out of some of these like mundane things. So that's roughly how this goes. You just keep wandering around and like learning and altering stories, and it's just a weird game. But I dig it.